reading might not be high on the list of your child's activities. This is especially true for boys. Now, even in our highest performing schools, parents and teachers worry that young boys are the ones who seem less likely to want to read on their own or outside of school. So how can we inspire our boys to read more? Well, Pam Allyn is the author of this new book. It's called Pam Allyn's Best Books for Boys: How to Engage Boys in Reading in Ways That Will Change Their Lives. Sounds good, doesn't it? And Pam has some ideas of her own to share with us. Hi, good to see you, Pam.
Thanks for having me.
So, you know, with all the wonderful reading materials that are out there, why do our boys not want to read?
Well, it's a couple of reasons. One is I think we as adults, as parents and teachers, are sometimes communicating the wrong message about reading. We make a claim that reading is solitary, it's lonely. Once you learn how to read yourself, you should go to your room and sit by yourself. And our boys are social, they want to be with us, they want to be active, they want to be busy. And so that's one reason that I think boys feel a little bit outside the reading experience. So
what about the competition with so much else that's going on in our world these days, like really active, high-speed, high adrenaline computer games?
Yes.
How can you compare? I mean, how can you tell a boy to sit down and read your book quietly versus sit there and be totally engaged with your joystick, right?
Right. Well, no, that's a real concern. The great news is that there are amazing books out there that if we can captivate our sons and boys in our classrooms with some of these great books, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, The Warriors, Harry Potter, that if even just by reading aloud to them, no matter how old they are, 10, 11 years old, to say, let's just sit down for 5 minutes before dinner, after the homework is done, just to really bring down the intensity of the day, and to let your son see you also really becoming captivated by that book. It's amazing what a great story will do to pull everybody in.
It sure will. I'm so glad you mentioned Harry Potter, because I was going to bring it up if you didn't. But it just seemed like when those books came out, and the whole series of, what, 8 of them or whatever, that the kids were sitting down and reading in droves, and there was this whole renewed emphasis on how kids love reading. And for you to say that boys are not reading, I kind of thought to myself, well, what about Harry Potter? Because, I mean, I guess that appeals to girls and boys, but it is about a boy wizard, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Harry Potter is, the series has been transformational for boys across the world, really. I mean, it's just because there was a boy, Harry, who was such an ordinary boy with a scar on his forehead, and he became a hero just by his exploration of magic. He wasn't anything fancy, he wasn't big and strong, he was just a regular boy with a good brain and a capacity for friendship who had some amazing adventures. And it's true, when those books came out, it was magical. It really was. Bookstores stayed open past midnight so we could get each book as it came out. And I think that magic is still there, but I think it's up to us as parents and educators and anybody who's in the community to bring Harry Potter out and sit down and read it with our sons. Don't let it go by because, well, the books came out a while ago, but they're still fresh. Right. They're still as great as they were. It's really a classic was born in our lifetime. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So what about girls, the way they learn versus boys, the way they learn? I mean, are girls naturally more verbal? Or do boys generally need, they're restless and they can't quite sit still long enough to read? I mean, there's something inherent in the sexes?
Well, it's a little bit of a puzzle because the statistics are very, very concerning in terms of boys, outcomes for boys, and the fact that more boys than girls are on ADD medication, for example. More boys than girls are dropping out of school and high school, many more boys. So all signs would point to this idea that somehow boys can't pay attention. But actually, I don't think that's true at all. I think that in some ways, I think it's really our responsibility to redefine how we see what reading is. When I see my kids reading the back of a cereal box or reading a video game manual or looking at a blog on the internet, what I don't want to say is you're not really reading. I think that girls have been historically very captivated by longer-term chapter books, and I think that we notice that boys go for more of a browsing kinds of reads through nonfiction. Again, the internet is a great venue for some of that, but I think we as adults have to honor that and admire that and say, you're a reader too. You're part of this reading culture also.
So what happens down the road, Pam? The boys are not reading. I guess this starts in elementary school and goes through middle and all the way through high school.
Yes.
What happens, I mean, you mentioned the dropout rate, so that's one ramification of what happens when boys don't read. They drop out of school. What else?
Well, you know, there are really serious implications for our society when we don't take this issue seriously, and one of which is that I work very much closely with the foster care associations in New York, and the predominant numbers of older teenagers who are having trouble, not just in school, but on the street and in society in general, are boys who are growing up not reading, and so when it comes time to looking for a job or being able to apply for a driver's license, all of those things that we take for granted as readers, we have young men out there that are feeling very disenfranchised and embarrassed to admit that they need help.
So how can we turn it around?
Well, I think the thing is we can all take action. The beauty of this issue is that everybody can be a teacher of reading. Everybody can model themselves as someone who loves and is passionate about reading, whether you're a mother, a grandmother, a grandfather, an uncle, a brother, a friend, to find a child that you know and to really sit down and read to them, no matter their age, and also to help them discover what their passions are. So if your son or your nephew loves to read, loves spiders or loves dragons, there are so many books out there just for these exact matches to the passion, and it's really up to us to say reading is amazing. It's a journey into another world, and you can all be part of it.
Well, I can't wait to delve into your book, Pam Allyn's best book for boys, How to Engage Boys in Reading in Ways That Will Change Their Lives. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.